Hello and welcome to the short Vort on Parshas Vezos Habrachs and Bereishis. We'll be reading these back-to-back days on Friday and Shabbos this week in 5778. I have 3 points I'd like to make about this as we conclude this year's cycle. And once again, I'm Ephraim Levy, and thank you for listening to the short Vort throughout the course of the year and the feedback. So one of the things we see at the end of this Parsha is that in Vezos Habrachs, Perak Lamed Daled Pasuk Vav, it says V'yikaver Oso Begai. Hashem buried Moshe Rabbeinu in Gai. A lesson we learn from this is that the last thing that Hashem did in the Parsha, in the Torah, was a Chesed. When we go to Bereishis, we see the first thing that Hashem did, besides creating the world, but He did the Chesed of clothing of Adam and Chava. So that should teach us that the beginning and end of Torah is Chesed, that really the whole concept of Torah is based on the principle of Chesed, and we should of course be learning from that. The Me'il Tzedakah, he took an approach to this Chazal homiletically, and these Divrei Torah are all from Peninim of the Torah, on the Torah, and he says that with the act of clothing someone, we start off with the person being born, they have to be clothed by someone, and in the end they're buried by someone else. So our job is to clothe ourselves throughout life with mitzvos and with chesed and with learning, and with that way, by clothing ourselves this way, when we come back after we pass on, we will be zocheh to have the clothing of Torah to make us worthy of going back to Gan Eden. And finally the Kalosh Rav Yecheskel Lifshitz suggests that this gives us a lesson about interrelationships between people. When we enter the world, we're dependent on the people to clothe us. When we leave, we're dependent on them to bury us. So the beginning and the end of our lives, we're always reliant on other people. This should be an inspiration for us to think about other people, that not just to be takers, but also to be the givers of this chesed. So we will be zocheh to be the givers of chesed, but sometimes taking chesed is also itself a chesed. So thank you for listening. Have a wonderful week, a wonderful parsha, a wonderful Shabbos, and a wonderful year.